Hi everybody, I'm Charlie, and this is On Air, my Beatles collection. Well, yesterday was the release day, or I should say re-release day, for Paul McCartney's wonderful Christmas Time, just in time for the holiday season once again. I'm pretty sure we'll be hearing that on the radio pretty soon. And also it was the re-release day for John's Happy Christmas. As is often the case, when they have releases on the same day, I get the Paul one in the mail first, and that is what happened yesterday. So I got the new Paul color vinyl, wonderful Christmas Time, and tomorrow I expect delivery for the John Lennon, John and Yoko, Happy Christmas 45, also on color vinyl. So tonight I'm going to talk about, or today I should say, not tonight, today I'm going to talk about sort of the history of some of Paul's other Christmas-related releases. Not releases that just happened to come out at Christmas time, but specifically with a Christmas theme. So the first one is Christmas Kisses. And this one happens to be on green vinyl. There was also one that's exactly the same cover, only it came with red vinyl. I'll talk about it in a minute, but one thing I recall is these came sealed and they had no hype stickers. So the hype was Paul McCartney's face. They didn't have to say anything else, but you couldn't tell which color you were getting. You know, you would think now in hindsight that maybe they could have colored one of these bands green and the other one red so you would know, or just put a sticker on there of color. They didn't. So anyway, there were two, and you know, you had to figure out how to get them without buying 4 of them to get 2 colors. I was lucky enough to buy 2 of them and get 2 colors. Anyway, the record features Diana Krall working with Paul McCartney, as she did on the Kisses on the Bottom album, which was the same year and the same motif. She plays piano and she's credited with rhythm arrangement on the first song on this, which is the Christmas song, also known as Chestnuts Roasting on an Open Fire. Of course, not written by Paul. That was a classic written by Mel Torme. It's been recorded by many, many artists over the years. I think it's probably been around since the early 50s or the mid 50s. Anyway, that's the A side. And the B side is Paul's original Wonderful Christmas Time, the 1979 recording. Wonderful Christmas Time came out in, I don't know, late November, early December of 1979, and immediately followed by the McCartney 2 album. So he recorded it sort of at the same time. And that was, of course, in early 1980 that came out. So anyway, there's 2 copies of that, green and red. Now, I have to confess, Paul singing Chestnuts Roasting on an Open Fire is not one of my favorite Paul pieces. It came out at a time when his voice, and I, you know, it was 2012 when this came out. It came out at a point in time where his voice was definitely starting to get weaker, and the album Kisses on the Bottom reflected that. You know, he sang kind of a quiet, soft voice. My Valentine was the hit, if you want to call it that, which he still does in his tour set list. Kind of a, you know, soft. It's not a rocker, and the whole album kind of had that kind of a feel to it, and so does this song. And not my favorite period for Paul, and not my favorite set of songs for Paul. So anyway, you know, that's my own personal point of view on it. Paul singing, you know, the Christmas song was not a hit. It doesn't get played every Christmas time like Wonderful Christmas Time does. You know, so it was a one-off thing. I like color vinyl. I like Paul. So I got him. Oops, sorry, Paul. There you go. Just playing with you a little bit. All right. So that was 2012. And then, let's see, 2017, we got this thing called Holidays Rule. And again, there's 2 of them. One is red, one is green. These were clearly marked These came out from Record Store Day in 2017. They're clearly marked Record Store Day, and as you can see here, this one actually says red, and of course the cover is red, and this one says green. This one also has another sticker that says Black Friday exclusive. So if you follow the Black Friday phenomenon and you understand the rules, there are some that are Black Friday exclusives, which means they were only sold on Black Friday, and then after that it was just resale by people who bought them on Black Friday. And others are available on Black Friday for the first time, but then they release them immediately after that, and they become readily available in the marketplace. So I'm not sure if that was the case with the red one. This was a Black Friday exclusive. This doesn't say that, but it does say Record Store Day, so I'm not sure, and I don't think it matters too much now, here 8 years later. The other difference is, well, first of all, let me explain what this is. Jimmy Fallon and the Roots doing basically an a cappella version where they actually imitate the sounds of the instruments and sing Paul's Wonderful Christmas Time, and then Paul actually jumps in and sings it for part of the song as well. And then the B-side is the Decemberists singing Jesus Christ. And on the other one, the same story on the A-side, it's Jimmy Fallon and the Roots with Paul, jumping in there. And on the B-side, it's Norah Jones, who was pretty popular in 2017, doing a song called Peace, and that was live at the Sheen Center. So that's those. I'll just take it out quickly. This is in a pretty hardcover cardboard. I just kind of slipped the record inside the shrink wrap so I could do it all here, in one step without having too much to do. So it's nice to have those. Again, these are not things that you take out and play very often. Maybe you play the B-side, but you're not going to play the green one and then the red one. Do the same thing from the Paul side point of view. And of course, the main topic for today is the re-release of Wonderful Christmas Time as an A-side. It's a B-side in a couple of cases, and it's an A-side, but not by Paul in another case. And here's something I had almost lost sight of. The original copy of Wonderful Christmas Time was on Columbia, not the Capitol era for Paul. It was on Columbia. And the B-side is Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reggae. Paul is credited for Wonderful Christmas Time by himself, just McCartney. It's not Paul and Linda or any of that, not Lennon and McCartney. And the B-side, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reggae, is credited to J. Marks, M-A-R-K-S, who I guess wrote Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. This is just a different arrangement of that. So that is the original 45, and it did come with a sleeve, and this is the sleeve. And this is kind of a die-cut sleeve. It's paper. It's pretty thin, like most picture sleeves. Kind of hard to keep in good shape. It's got a few creases and wrinkles in it, but I keep it in plastic. Then, some years later, we got a red vinyl copy of it for jukeboxes only. You might remember the For Jukeboxes Only series. There was a lot of Beatles stuff that was reissued in oddball combinations. I have them all. A couple of them are super rare, selling for over $500 a piece these days. Anyway, this is not one of those, but this is on the Capitol purple label, as you can see, For Jukeboxes Only. And it was nice to get this in red when it came out. That was the first time I saw it in red. And that's kind of become the standard that people look for up until now. They look for that sleeve, and they try to, sorry, that's the reggae side. That's the Wonderful Christmas Time side. People look for this sleeve, and they look for the red vinyl. Well, now, as of last night, you've got a new sleeve, which is exactly the same as the old sleeve, except it's cardboard sleeve, not a paper sleeve. And lo and behold, yellow vinyl. And the yellow vinyl is on Parlophone. That's a Parlophone 45 yellow vinyl. It's not translucent. It is opaque. You cannot see through it. It still features Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reggae, of course. I haven't noticed any other difference. It says 2011 MPL Communications, so that is just a remix or remaster year. Nothing else important about that. I'm just scanning it for any flaws. I don't see any. I don't see any grime or dust or anything like that. Let's check it for flatness. Looks pretty flat to me. Looks pretty flat. So that's good. And as I mentioned, this is a thicker cardboard, so much different cardboard paper. Other than that, you can't tell much difference. This one is the older one. You can see it shows up as a little lighter on the screen than this one. It's a more robust color. Paul's face is more tan, if you will. The green is greener, it seems like, on this one than the older one. But anyway, they did their best to reproduce it. Another difference is the new one has lots of credits on the back, on the bottom. The outer sleeve, or I should say the shrink wrap, which I took off, had a sticker that said "Made in Czech Republic." I did save that. I'll probably put, I will put a new poly sleeve over this. And if I can, I'll remove the Czech Republic sticker from the shrink wrap, and I'll put it on the back where it was on the shrink. I'll put it on the new poly sleeve. And I'll separate the record from the sleeve, which I always do. I don't keep the records in the sleeve. I don't want them to get ring wear or anything like that. You'll notice, this one is, 40, how old? 45 years old, 46 years old. There's no ring wear. There's, it's a little bit of little bends, little curls in the edges and stuff, but it's really in pretty good shape considering. And so I keep the sleeve separate from the records. I'll put the record in probably just in a white paper sleeve, and then I'll put that in a poly sleeve, and I'll put it in a separate poly sleeve from the 45 from the picture sleeve. And then in the picture sleeve, I have a special cardboard that fits inside the picture sleeves, and it gives them rigidity and gives them sharp form so that they don't get crushed in the edges and all that. So I'll put that inside the picture sleeve, and then I'll put them together in a poly outer sleeve. And that's how I keep them nice and fairly new looking, and in some cases minty. Anyway. So that was last night's catch, the new yellow vinyl version. But I wanted to show you some of the other McCartney Christmas-related stuff that's come out in the last 15 years or so. And then probably tomorrow, I almost definitely will receive the Lennon Happy Christmas 45 tomorrow, and I'll be looking at that along with some of the historical John Lennon Christmas as well, like I did with McCartney. So anyway, that's it for today, and I wish you an early Merry Christmas or a wonderful Christmas time. And if you like this video, please hit the thumbs up, and if you're not yet a subscriber, please hit the subscribe button. If you have any comments, I'd love to hear your comments. If I missed something or misstated something, or you just want to ask a question or anything you want to know, just drop it down there in the comments, and I'll try to get back to you and respond. And if you're not a member of my Facebook page, also known as My Beatles Collection, we have almost 6,000 group members there. It is a private group. It's designed for you to show your collection and for you to see my collection and just make one big happy Beatles collection. It's not for selling, and you're not allowed to sell on there, and you have to agree not to sell before you get admitted, and you have to answer a few other questions about group rules. So it is a private group, but we're up to, as I said, almost 6,000 members. But it's safe. We don't have anybody on there trying to sell stuff that they don't even own. or any of that kind of stuff. So we're trying to keep it scam artist free, and it's not there to promote your own videos or your own singing or your own whatever. It's there to show your Beatles collection. And I approve every post. I try to keep it clean. I try to make sure nobody gets mean or nasty with anybody, and I try to make sure nobody, you know, uses it for just self-promotion and not sharing their Beatles collection. But anyway, love to have you over there, and love to see, you know, what you have in your collection. And usually when I do these videos, not usually, always when I do these videos, I put a link into the Facebook page so those 6,000 members can see that there's a video over here on YouTube, and they can come on over if they want to and take a look. They might not otherwise find out about them. And plus I post a lot of static stuff, just pictures of things that I own. And I also do some advanced stuff if I hear about something that's coming soon, like was the case with these color vinyls. You know, I was talking about these, I don't know, 2 months ago when they were announced. So usually I have early pictures and I can post, this is coming soon. I usually know the release date and that kind of stuff. So, you know, I try to share that, you know, breaking news, if you will, for, you know, solo Beatles, you know, the group Beatles, you know, whatever, Beatles related. So anyway, come on over there if you'd like. And again, if you're not a subscriber here, please hit the subscribe button and the like button, and hope to see you again soon. So that's it for today. Take care.